Throughout time, artists have challenged the way things are in the world and how we see our world. All of us have the opportunity to create change in the culture we live in. In this video, we will explore two artists who have transformed the world with their art: Vincent van Gogh and Pablo Picasso. First, we will take a look at the life and work of Vincent van Gogh, born in 1853 in Zundert, Netherlands. After trying and failing at a few different professions, in 1881, a 28-year-old Vincent van Gogh returned to the Netherlands, where he took up painting. His first work was inspired by realism. He painted realistic portraits of the rural landscapes and people around him. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris to be with his brother Theo. In Paris, Vincent was influenced by the work of the Impressionists, and his work became lighter and more colorful. He was happier in Paris, and the chronic depression in his life was lifted by the sights and sounds around him. In 1888, Vincent moved to Arles, a beautiful city in the south of France. Inspired by the rural beauty, his work became even more colorful and expressive. Vincent loved looking at Japanese prints, and he incorporated the look of Japanese prints into his own developing personal style. His Sunflower series is a great example of this. Later, in 1888, the artist Paul Gauguin moved to Arles to live and paint with Vincent. They were close friends for a while, but soon their friendship took a bad turn, and they fought constantly. Finally, Gauguin moved away. Vincent's depression and mental instability quickly worsened. Upset by the break in his friendship with Gauguin, Vincent removed part of his ear with a knife. Institutionalized in a hospital for a long stay, Vincent's paintings began reflecting the chaotic beauty of his deteriorating mental state. Today, it is thought that he has suffered from bipolar disorder and traits of borderline personality disorder, made worse by alcohol use and malnutrition. In the last 2 months of his life, Vincent moved to another rural town. Sadly, his mental illness and depression proved difficult to overcome in a time when his symptoms had no clinical treatments. His last painting, Wheatfield with Crows, shows a dark and terrifying sky. He died in July 1890 at the age of 37. Possibly from a self-inflicted gun wound. Vincent's work reflected the world around him, but through his own tortured mind, factors such as his deteriorating mental health, lack of social skills, and financial problems limited his ability to be successful in the world. In spite of this, Vincent van Gogh's imagination was unlimited, and the beauty of his creative vision speaks to people to this very day. Next, we will take a look at the life and work of Pablo Picasso, born in 1881. Picasso's early work was also rooted in realism. He painted in true-to-life colors and painted scenes inspired by his Catholic faith and portraits of his family. In 1897, inspired by Impressionism and Expressionism, Picasso's style became less lifelike and more experimental. Picasso said, "The world today doesn't make sense, so why should I paint pictures that do?" Picasso was thought to suffer from bipolar disorder. After the suicide of a friend in 1901, Picasso went into a deep depression and began painting images of poverty, disease, and despair in dark, cooler hues. This is referred to as his blue period, which took place from 1901 to 1904. Moving to Montmartre, a colorful area of Paris in 1904, Picasso's work was filled with color and light. His rose period used soft pinks and primary colors to complement softer colors, representing love and light, reflecting the vibrant street life around him. He painted harlequins, acrobats, and circus performers. Inspired by African art, Picasso changed his style again and painted his figures even more abstract and fragmented. From 1908 to 1914, and troubled by the clouds of the approaching World War, Picasso further abstracted human figures and objects into overlapping geometric shapes that showed multiple angles all at once. This became known as Cubism. Faces appear distorted and are like dissociative disorder, where the faces are without unity or coherence. After World War I, Picasso's work became more dreamlike, and his work from this period is considered surrealism. It is possible his vision was a symptom of body dysmorphic disorder, which is the incongruity between the person's image of themselves and how others perceive them. Pablo Picasso continued painting until his death in 1973. Although his later work didn't fall into any neat categories anymore, he continued to evolve as an artist until his very last breath. The lives of Van Gogh and Picasso were very different, but there were also many similarities. They both began their painting careers in a natural style. Both their styles drastically changed after they moved from rural to lively, more populated cities. Both artists were inspired by other cultures' artistic styles. Both artists and their work were greatly affected by losing a close friend who they valued deeply. Experts today consider the possibility both artists suffered from bipolar disorder. The major difference between the two is that Van Gogh was self-destructive, self-mutilation, drinking, and ignoring his health, while Picasso was outer destructive, being physically and mentally abusive to the people in his life, even those who were closest to him. As you can see, the evolution of each artist's work reflected their inner lives as well as the world around them. Art reflects our history and documents the crucial events of our lives as well as events in the larger world around us. As a student at Gogh High School, how will the work you create here reflect your inner mind and soul? As a student at Gogh, how will the work you create reflect our world today?